Many of us may be familiar with the myth of King Midas and his ability to transform inanimate objects into gold. But how exactly did he acquire such a talent? Midas ruled over the region known as Phrygia, part of what we call today modern-day Turkey. As you would expect from a king, he lived a life of luxury and abundance in his large castle with his only daughter. But despite how rich Midas was, nothing brought him as much joy as accumulating gold. He would often spend vast amounts of time counting his gold coins. His obsession led to him covering all of his clothing in gold objects, sometimes even going as far as to bathe in gold. The god Dionysus had passed through Midas's kingdom, but his companion and longtime friend Silenus had lost his way after the two had drunk a bit too much wine the night before. Silenus was found wandering in the gardens of the surrounding palace by the men of King Midas. Upon being recognized, Silenus would spend the next few days enjoying the hospitality of King Midas as the two indulged themselves. When Silenus had explained what had happened to him, King Midas did not hesitate in reuniting him with his friend Dionysus. Once reunited, Dionysus was extremely grateful to King Midas for the kindness he had shown. He told the king that as a reward he would grant him one wish. Midas paused, and after a short period of contemplation, he replied, "I wish that everything I touched became gold." Dionysus urged the king to reconsider his wish, but Midas was adamant that that is what he wanted. Unable to dissuade the king from his wish, Dionysus asked Midas to heed his warning and granted the wish the following day. When Midas awoke, he was eager to see if his wish had been granted. Reaching over to his bedside table, as Midas lay his hands down, it did indeed turn into gold. Filled with excitement, he began to touch every object in his room until he was so exhausted he had to rest. As Midas sat down for breakfast, he leant over to smell a rose, but as he touched it, the fragrance was gone. He was disappointed that he would never again enjoy the fragrance of his garden without touching his flowers. Every piece of food that Midas touched turned to gold before it could even reach his lips, and it wasn't long before he began to realize that the gift he had so eagerly asked for may not have been a gift. When Midas's daughter entered the room, she ran over to hug her father, and as she did, tears filled his eyes as he had just turned his daughter into a solid gold statue. Distraught at what he had just done, Midas began to pray to Dionysus to end this curse. Dionysus told Midas to go to the river Pactolus, where everything he placed in the river would revert back to normal. Midas washed his hands in the river and felt his newfound power disappear, leaving a stream of shimmering gold behind him. When he returned home, everything that was once gold had returned to normal. Midas hugged his daughter, and he left her in charge of his kingdom. He had realized that all the riches in the world would no longer make him happy. He retreated to the forest, where he became a follower of the god Pan, and where he would live a simple and humble life. The story of King Midas and his golden touch is a classic case of be careful what you wish for. Midas was a greedy king who believed that wealth was the route to happiness, and it wasn't until he lost his daughter, the one thing that he truly loved, that he realized he no longer needed money and material possessions to live a happy life.